welcome to Fox Gaming. Today I will show you how I paint Mardin, Durin's sidekick. Durin will be painted next week. Make sure that you watch the video until the end, as I will show you what I do to make him stand out on the battlefield. Let's begin. The model was primed black, and the first color I use is Lead Belcher. This is used to paint Torozul, which is his spear, and the axe he has in his belt. He also has two earrings that I paint using the same color. Next, I use Bugman's Glow to paint in his skin. The tunic is painted in the army color. In my instance, I use Gretchen Green Foundation. This color is no longer in production, but you can use a similar color or another color altogether. The highlights in the later stages works the same either way. Rhinox hide was used to paint in the boots, pouch, belt and gloves. The beard was painted using Eshin Grey. Retributor armor was used to paint in the scale armor and the rings on his beard. Next, I use Nuln oil to shade the silver, brown and his beard. I shaded in the gold and skin with Reikland Flesh Shade. Now let's start to highlight the miniature. The black areas was first highlighted with Corvus Black, hitting a large area. This is the cloth parts under his scale armor, don't forget his arms, the handle on the axe in his belt and his eye patch. Next I used Eshin Grey as a broad edge highlight. I also used this color to highlight his beard. Lastly, I used Dawnstone to selectively pick out the outer edges on the black areas and highlight the beard. The beard got a final highlight using Pallid Witch Flesh. For the brown areas, I use a mix of Rhinox hide and Screaming Skull. 3 parts Rhinox to 1 part skull. I'm hitting a large area with this mix. Next, I mix in some more Screaming Skull, about 50-50. Then I paint in a small area using this mix. For the army color, I mix Gretchen Green with Screaming Skull, about 60-40 in favor of the green. If you have used another color for your army, just substitute Gretchen Green with your chosen color. The next highlights on the green areas, I mixed in some more Screaming Skull, about 1 part green to 3 parts Screaming Skull. skin parts is next. I used Bugman's Glow to touch up on these areas. This is mainly because I don't want the highlights to be too much of a difference. The next highlight is a 50-50 mix of Bugman's Glow and Cadian Flesh Tone. And lastly, only Cadian Flesh Tone. This gradual highlight is necessary because of the large area of his bald head. To highlight the silver details, I use Lead Belcher. This works because of the darkening of the area with Nuln Oil. The highlight is a broad edge highlight. Next, I use Iron Breaker to do a finer edge highlight on a smaller area on the silver parts. The gold details was highlighted with a mix of Iron Breaker and Ganas Gold, with a ratio of 3:1 mix in favor of Ganas Gold. On the second highlight, the mix was a little bit more than 50-50 in favor of Iron Breaker. Now for the part that will make Mardin stand out on the battlefield. I have made a base for him that elevates him a little bit. In this case, a large rock. I've also made some gold bars from leftover sprue that I glued onto the base. The rock is made from XPS foam and filler to seal it all down. It was then base coated using a black primer. For painting the base, I start with a heavy dry brush of Eshin Grey. Then a lighter dry brush using Dawnstone. And a very light dry brush using Pallid Witch Flesh. The gold bars was painting using Retributor Armor. Washed with Rakelan Flesh Shade. While the wash was drying, I painted the rim on the base using Mournfang Brown. I then glued Mardin to the base and highlighted the gold bars using a mix of Iron Breaker and Ganas Gold, with a ratio of 3:1 in favor of Ganas Gold. And now Mardin is complete, ready to support his king against Moria's darkest creatures. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you want more content like this. Push the like button if you liked the video and leave a comment if you have any questions. See you around.